trade kill to cover their backs. And I think that was something that we don't really get to see from Team Spirit that often. Usually they're fighting together, and throughout Dust 2 especially, it's kind of just like people on their own trying to take their isolated duels, and they were losing those to ZywOo. And I think, I mean, one of the things that Magic said before the game started was that they were going to get 0-2, they were going to get shit on. And that,
trying to tell us.
He was trying to tell us, and we're just like, haha, yeah,
nice meme.
Nice one. But I mean, he also said that it wasn't them. When they lose series to other teams, it was like usually them kind of like shitting the bed. But here,
that's what he used to say, yeah.
Yeah, but here they didn't feel like that. And when I'm looking at the game right now, I'm thinking it did look like they were shitting the bed a little bit. So I don't know what to take from that response from him, because I don't know what to say. Donk wasn't on form. He wasn't getting multi-kills. They're bumping into each other. It looks like their team plan's completely whack. I think Chopper was also making some questionable individual decisions. Their strat calls on Dust 2 to group up as 5 people, give up the full map for an entire minute or more. That is very not Spirit-esque.
Well, Spirit eliminated here at IM. Dallas says it is Vitality to be moving on to that grand final, but it is time. Making history, never gracing the stage of this size before at their first ever IM playoffs versus none other than G2 with Stu. We'll be back at 15:45 local time with the pre-match. You don't want to miss it. Making history, never gracing the stage of this size before at their first ever IM playoffs versus none other than G2 with Stu. We'll be back at 15:45 local time with the pre-match. You don't want to miss it. Making history, never gracing the stage of this size before at their first ever IM playoffs versus none other than G2 with Stu. We'll be back at 15:45 local time with the pre-match. You don't want to miss it. Making history, never gracing the stage of this size before at their first ever IM playoffs versus none other than G2 with Stu. We'll be back at 15:45 local time with the
For me, it's Gamescom. It has to be Gamescom, right? July 2015? August? Okay. Then it's the beginning of August, because we had Cologne after, and we won it. And Gamescom 2015, yeah, was envious. 8.
There's only 6 teams.
6 teams?
Yeah.
The fuck? I remember we lost only to Mouse, 16-12, I think, on train, I would say. But only 6. I remember TSM, us, was a Mouse probably, SK, maybe maybe Australians, Renegades? And the last, I don't know, I don't remember. CLG, okay. Ah, yeah, we played them as well, I remember. Mouse on train, I remember that. Famous talent. Magisk? Ah, talent. Ah, Sponge? I get then? Okay. Ah, talent, yeah, of course. Okay. Carrigan?
Yeah.
So, Dupree? Killian? Okay. Ah, yeah, Nico? Ah, yeah, he was standing in. Yeah, that's true. He was standing in for SK. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Oh. Yeah, and it was the really beginning of Nico as well, so. Ah, it's easy. Kenyas, Kiyoshima, Happy, and NBK. Happy?
Karim Adeyemi szuka miejsca na rozegranie akcji, oddaje piłkę Jadonowi Sancho. Sancho jest naciskany przez Valverde. Piłka wraca do Brandta, Julian Brandt, Emre Can. Emre Can zamarkował strzał, nawinął Bellingama, oddał piłkę Ryersonowi. No Ryerson akurat wsparcia na prawej stronie mieć nie będzie teraz, bo Jadon Sancho powędrował na lewą flankę. Dopiero teraz przesuwa się gdzieś na lewą stronę Sancho, Schlotterbeck, raz jeszcze Ryerson. Can. Emre Can odepchnął Viniciusa, no tutaj zaważyły warunki fizyczne, że Emre Can przy piłce się utrzymał. Hummels, Schlotterbeck. Schlotterbeck. Patrzę, co jeszcze piszecie na czacie. Marcin, ostatnio media podały w Anglii, że ma padać od 27 maja przez następne 50 dni i się sprawdza. To by była tragedia w kraju. Wszystkie imprezy sportowe, muzyczne, eventy pod gołym niebem by się nie odbyły. No, generalnie ta pogoda w ostatnich miesiącach się mocno popsuła, jeśli chodzi o Europę. Czy to jest związane ze zmianami klimatycznymi na stałe? Nie wypowiadam się na ten temat, bo to jest temat bardzo wrażliwy, ale fakty są takie, że tych ulew, burz jest coraz więcej, a tymczasem, proszę Państwa, będziemy mieli na boisku za chwilę dwie legendy, które kończą karierę klubową. Toni Kroos grał od pierwszej minuty, ale za chwilę na murawie w zespole Borussii Dortmund pojawi się Marco Reus z numerem 11. Szykuje się do wejścia na boisko 35-latek, zawodnik, który po pojawieniu się na telebimach od razu otrzymał aplauz. A ten jeszcze większy aplauz pewnie otrzyma w momencie, gdy postawi stopę na placu gry. Marco Reus zmienia Karima Adeyemiego, zatem już nie stawia na szybkość na jednej stronie boiska Edin Terzic, teraz stawia na technikę Marco Reusa, zawodnika, który potrafi przedryblować
kontrakt, który został
defensywę
przedłużony właśnie przez
przeciwnika,
doświadczonego
pokazał
chorwackiego
to,
pomocnika.
nawet chyba w tym sezonie 2 bramki zdobył 35-latek. Jeśli chodzi o Ligę Mistrzów, 8 goli łącznie we wszystkich rozgrywkach. Dla Marco Reusa to mecz numer 429 w karierze w Borussii Dortmund, 170 bramek, mnóstwo asyst. Tych goli, tych asyst, tych meczów mogło być zdecydowanie więcej, gdyby nie kontuzje Marco Reusa. Ale może zwieńczyć tę przygodę z Borussią Dortmund w przepiękny sposób, zwycięstwem w finale Ligi Mistrzów. Brandt, Füllkrug traci piłkę, przechwyt Kamavingi, zagranie na lewą stronę do Viniciusa. Vinicius, rozpędza się Brazylijczyk, Vinicius starał się mijać Hummelsa, to mu się udało. Minięty też Ryerson, ale Hummels wrócił we własne pole karne i zatrzymał Brazylijczyka. Będzie korner dla gości. Ale to, co niepokojące dla Borussii, to fakt, że coraz śmielej poczynają sobie Rodrigo oraz Vinicius w bocznych strefach boiska, że coraz lepiej radzą sobie w starciach bezpośrednich z Madsenem czy Ryersonem. No i pytanie, czy Real będzie w stanie ich wykorzystać w późniejszej fazie tego spotkania. Toni Kroos szykuje się do wykonania rzutu rożnego. Niezłe dośrodkowanie, ale nie sięgnął piłki głową. Ridiger, jeszcze Valverde, strzał za 16, rykoszet. Piłka odbiła się od Madsena. Będzie kolejny korner dla Realu Madryt. Terimento pyta, kto jutro komentuje na kanale mecz Arki z Motorem. Jutro duecik, Wojtek Kowalski i Marcel Kowalczuk. Zapraszam Państwa na to spotkanie. Bardzo podobał się Państwu komentarz z meczu Motor Górnik, a tymczasem zobaczmy go! Carvajal 1-0 dla Realu. 74 minuta. Świetne dośrodkowanie z rzutu rożnego Toniego Kroosa i strzał głową Daniego Carvajala, który daje prowadzenie królewskim. To jest bramka tych, którzy w Realu siedzą praktycznie najdłużej. Jest gol numer 1 w tym sezonie Ligi Mistrzów Daniego Carvajala i jest kolejna, jedna z ostatnich w karierze klubowej. Asysta Toniego Kroosa. Cieszą się, a nawet płaczą ze szczęścia kibice Realu Madryt, natomiast piłkarze jeszcze się wzajemnie motywują, pokazując, że to nie koniec. Patrzymy na powtórkę. Świetne dośrodkowanie z narożnika boiska Toniego Kroosa. Dani Carvajal uciekł Nico Schlotterbeckowi. Nie, to uciekł Niklasowi Füllkrugowi, przepraszam. Jeszcze starał się nawet ręką chyba.
There's like these many things, but those are the two main macro points of CP side listing.
And let's say you don't play for long or you give it up, maybe you don't have a ton of utility and they do take it and they're trying to, maybe end the round along? What are the couple of things that maybe you can try and do without long to either defend or maybe just give it and then play a sort of a retake?
I mean, the usual idea is when people take long, especially if they take it fast, if you don't have long, you have to take short. If you don't have short, right? If you leave both short and long, a good team is gonna eventually split you. B players kind of reactions, and maybe one of the A players as well, like a rotation player or whatever. B players reactions after they take long is usually either push tunnel and find a lurker, or a second variation is kind of one A player coming short here, and the mid player coming close mid doors, and they're kind of re-clear mid, and the same idea, they re-clear the tunnel through lower instead of upper, and they kind of connect with the B player afterwards. If D side starts the pressure with like a Molotov car, one of the easiest ways to delay is like you smoke car, they're afraid of car, they think you could be behind car, whatever, doesn't matter. Or you could utilize the smoke, for example, like if D side is if D side like smokes across, right? Then you can always kind of utilize your smoke and smoke in front of it like this, and they kind of waste this time going around, and at the same time you could be like on the box above here. At the second part, after you understand that they're on long, you'll re-clear the tunnel. You left a player here. Usually people leave a player here. That's gonna spot like the B rotation. You usually have a player here and a player in lower. This guy spots top mid, and when long is getting pressure, he rotates, and the lower guy stays alone, kind of watching both. And you usually understand the timing of D side kind of faking and going B, because it's like if nothing is happening for a long time, and your main objective also as a CT side is like on timing, you need to get flashed here to check if like how many people are here, and this is free information. Sometimes you can see like 3 people here, and you know they're finishing long. The main idea afterwards is to utilize the defensive smoke when they start crossing, right? And defensive smokes can be done in different ways. Like one of the most popular now is here in the corner. You smoke like this, and you play, for example, on the box here, punish here, watch like this, kind of hide inside around the smoke. Second one is a classic that from CSGO as well, like this, and you can kind of play around boost, and you can have these good angles. In CSGO there was a one-way before, now there's none, but it's still not bad. And the third one, I think one of the most popular ones is smoking the barrels here and kind of playing around here, having this ramp cross, peeking to the right if needed, and whatever. And utilizing one of these 3 smokes with supportive utility from CT, for example, a Molotov, or one player getting flashed through on timing, or spamming or breaking the smoke. And that's why now it's a lot harder to finish actually on these side.
And I saw you guys also have, a sort of a B rush, and you have the smokes from spawn too. So has anything changed much for the B players when it comes to CT side in terms of protocols?
I think overall the main thing that changed, yeah, we're using like lurk smoke, door smoke, whatever. But I think the main thing that changed is you have to kind of use a little bit more nades early, I believe. I think if people pre-smoke doors, I think it's on T side it's a little bit easier to manipulate kind of like, are you B rushing or are you faking, and that kind of forces the CT player kind of, they see the smoke, okay, like I have to use Molotov HE. There are players who like are greedy, right? They, for example, jump, they see the boost and up in suicide, and they're like, okay, I'm not going to use any utility tunnel because I don't believe they're. I feel like B players are beginning to be like scared, beginning to be scared, and of course these no skybox smokes, like you could smoke like doors from here, and kind of have four players tunnels not making a pin sound, kind of going close. Door smoke is bouncing and people are running out here, and you're like, you.
Day of the week.
2 chances, and again, they've got to play it down the vent. Poppin just goes straight down, abusing this opening.
They're doing it again.
Get past VQ though, VQ misses the shot. Flame, flash, drop behind. She's not ready, they had no idea. Poppins had got down vent, gets in the back lines. And Fluxo, the red carpet is rolled out to be.
Yeah, and the red carpet is VQ's blood all over the ramp floor. Anna X is even holding for Letty's drop down. If Letty pushes lobby, Just a dead woman walking, all down secret, all rotating through, one-dimensional out of Na'Vi, and it needs to be fantastic, but it's just getting worse and worse.
There's that lurk timing. A 3v5. Desperation for Na'Vi. Thought they had this one in the bag, but instead, it's been fumbled. And it's Fluxo, who look to take the opening map of this series. Hanka, first kill though. Lena gets one back. Maybe there's a well, maybe there's a way, but no. It's on to Lena. Time running out, and 2 players to find a smoke forward. It's not planted. Out behind default, it's planted in towards Astralis. She can't even find it. Can't even get this defuse happening. There's knives out. It's done. And it's Fluxo taking map 1.
Yeah, we talked about the veto. We said, look, this is a great pick for Fluxo Demons to make it work, and that was exceptional.
Beautiful stuff to get this series started. After Na'Vi found map point as well, Fluxo able to
This is exactly what you're saying, choosing your...
and Na'Vi will feel a bit of hard bum by, like that was theirs to finish.
Yeah, but also, look, this is the first time ever Fluxo Demons have beaten Na'Vi Javelins in a map on land. Sure, the job is not done yet, but that's got to fill them with a world of confidence. If you're Na'Vi, you take a step back, you think, look, we've still got 2 more maps to go. But with that being said, we've got Heku here on the sidelines, talking all things Fluxo Demons.
I have got us here by my side. First of all, congratulations. You managed to break the curse. I gotta ask, what is in that folder?
It's everything we need to win against them.
And does it have everything that you need to win also the second map?
Yeah, sure.
Well, then we'll see. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Eu vou abrir a porta e vou jogar com você, tá?
Vamos comer essa
Julie. Tá.
Tá, eu vou com vidro.
Tá quebrado, esquerda, esquerda. Uma bomb, default, comendo bebê uma. Então vai defusar direto. Smocou. Eu vou comer, Ana.
Tá, come, Julie. Come embaixo.
Comi. Tá defusando, tá smocada. Boa, matou. Ai, que porra! Vamos! Tirou rápido! Vamos!
The main talking point throughout today has been how ESL Impact over the last 5 seasons has lifted up the skill level of women's Counter-Strike. And here is a perfect example. You heard it from B-Dog and Lucy. Fluxo Demons has never been able to take a map off Na'Vi Javelins on LAN, and they just did it. Nuke, their pick, is theirs, and they are 1 map away from staying in this competition. You saw Goddess there. She's got her little folder. She said to Heku, this is it. This is their opportunity to beat Na'Vi. Looks very confident. Obviously, Na'Vi was at map point, Vilga. It looked like that they were going to be able to take this. Fluxo pushes it into overtime, takes it from them. What was it that Fluxo was doing right that led to the victory?
I think the trade kills were really good, you know, even though Na'Vi were getting these entries and they were getting in the good position, but at the end of the day, Fluxo were the ones finishing the rounds, and that's what helped them to win the whole game.
One of the things that I mentioned here is about how Fluxo in the beginning of this game were making a lot of errors that Na'Vi capitalized on 7licious, but I feel like the tides turned towards the end of that, and it became a fact of Fluxo just being able to see where the holes in Na'Vi's defense was.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Fluxo downing lower very many times in this match. They managed to get the timing to get down there, or just like rush door or getting lower, and many of the times it didn't seem like Na'Vi even knew about it. So that was very impressive by them. But I also think that they were really good at taking yard control and also leaving lurks.
Hello Hunter, how are we doing?
All good, brother, all good. And you?
I'm doing very good, thank you. But I want to...
Fluxo able to get it into OT and then take the victory. Where did they get that second gear?
I think they just got the second breath out of nowhere. They understood that they got nothing to lose, that this is their map pick. This is 100% win rate that they have on this map, you know, so they have prepared for sure for this map against Na'Vi specifically. So they just understood for that. This is their map and they should finish it.
Obviously, they have that 100% win rate, but Na'Vi lets it through in the veto because Na'Vi's feeling very confident. You think that maybe they underestimated Fluxo, or was it just one of those situations where both teams played the best they could and on the day Fluxo was the stronger team?
The thing is that Navi's nuke is also really good, and we could see it during this map, right? They have different strats, they have different defaults, playing a lot with the smokes, putting like the person down vents a lot of times, faking, you know, lurking. So they were prepared for this map. I just think the anti-strat, they expected that Fluxo will pick nuke against them, and they just anti-stratted them.
Yeah, I also believe that we had a little bit of overthinking on Navi's side. There was one specific round where they have full weapon round and Fluxo did have pistols or something, and they got full yard control. They go down lower, they went up again, they went up heaven, and then back B and back heaven. It was like very overthinking, and I don't know if that had something with pressure or what happened, but yeah.
We're talking a lot about those errors and mistakes. Ladies, I believe that we're going to play on the toy again. Who's up for the drawing board? Vilga's doing the walk again, careful of the stair. I'm the only person that falls down the stairs, but I bring it up again. What are we looking at right now?
All right, so we're looking at the arrow that I believe Junger made. So she went for this aggressive door peek, but then at the same time, she shot, and that's why
as well as Team Liquid grinded out in a 3-mapper. That puts them in the playoffs already. And then in the upper bracket, they play Vitality and they 2-0 Vitality. That's why they get straight to the semifinals here.
It's been a great run for them so far, and the run's not over yet. Obviously, they have the semifinals to take care of. G2, yeah, I mean, they faced off against the exact same opponents. G2 also took out Mouse, also took out Liquid, but fell to Vitality, and that's why we had to see them yesterday in the quarterfinals against FaZe, but they dispatched the FaZe as well, and nobody really saw that coming. Maybe a couple people here or there, but overall, it's exciting.
These are the two teams that are hated the most by Mouse and Liquid fans at the moment because they're the ones that eliminated them from the tournament. But I think it's equally surprising to an extent, you know, that they were able to take down some of these heavyweights, because you look at 9Z, obviously coming from South America, didn't have much success. For them, a success has been managing to qualify for Chengdu and qualify for Dallas. That's already great, but actually being able to win in these games again, these teams showing some poise, showing some good Counter-Strike, it's been really incredible for the 9Z squad.
Yeah, for these guys, they've been going at it for a while. Like for this 9Z squad, this is a monumental task for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is an uphill battle, but I mean, I think by just eye test alone, looking at how they're playing a really good textbook style. They have good teamwork. They're doing the push-pull, everything really well. They're not, you know, overextending. They're not getting ahead of themselves. They're taking it opponent by opponent, and they're just capitalizing on the mistakes that other opponents have made. Mao's obviously had a really rocky event so far. Vitality made some overextensions, and 9Z's just here to just say, you know what, like, we might not be rated as highly as the other teams, but we're going to do everything like by the book, and we're just going to capitalize on whatever inch you give us. We're going to take it and we're going to run with it. So keep making mistakes, we're going to punish them, and we're not going to offer up any mistakes of our own.
And I think it's been also some good individual play, right, from basically two guys who played the same roles on both teams. On the side of 9Z, it's Martinez, the Opper, and DGT, right? On the side of G2, it's been obviously Monesi on the AWP, and Nico has stepped up despite having to in-game lead for this tournament with Huxi not being here. So it's those two duos that have really been the majority of the firepower for both squads.
Which is, it's a wild ride for a 9Z fan at this point, right? You've over-exceeded expectations, and then you wonder about, hey, how did we get here in the first place? Is there anything that sticks out to you that adds up to that? Or are we also looking at underperforming teams on other sides? I mean, you don't want to detract from what they've done here, but at the same time, they've beat some big names.
I mean, sure, if you look at a team like Mouse, who comes in rated #1 and to not even make the playoffs, Mouse hasn't lost a game in group stages in the whole year. And here they lose 2 and get eliminated. So sure, there's a little bit of underperformance, but I think when you look at the starting point for 9Z and G2 specifically for this tournament, I think that you can't take anything away from them.
Yeah, I mean, they're going against a dead Mouse, basically, and then they're not to beat on the dead horse, but you know.
Wait, Deadmau5 like the artist, or
maybe? Do we have the rights to say that name?
I think we could say the name. I don't know if we can play
Dead
the
horse
music.
like Team Liquid.
The dead horse
There
like
you
Team
go, that's
Liquid.
way
Yep.
better.
So not to beat on the dead horse though, but it is really a matter of the top teams that are coming into here, and they are underperforming. They aren't showing us what we've seen from them before in terms of tactically sound, good teamwork, individually performing. We're not seeing that from these top teams, and they're getting exposed for it. And whether or not it's like this one-time thing, or whether or not it's a broader issue that we need to like focus on in time, we don't know yet. But they're here to capitalize on it, so good for them.
Yeah, props to them. Hats off to them. Even cowboy hats off to them even. However, it is Max that gave us some words before we jump into the server today. So thank you very much, Max. Let's hear what he's got to say.
This right here is something very special. Max has been on 9Z for over 4 years now, and this is the biggest stage you've ever been on. Is this what you dream on?
Yeah, it's like a dreaming coming true, so we need to enjoy and play some good CS.
Well, you've been playing some really good CS, right? You look at the teams you've taken down to get here, that Vitality game as well. Where is your confidence level at?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know, we have been talking about like this, like in confidence, and we are in a good mood now, and I think we maybe, if we play like in the tournament, we can beat G2.
And in terms of beating G2, I want to see, how are you feeling about being on the stage? Because there's not as much experience, right, being on the stage. Have you spoke about what this could change for the team?
Yeah, we need to control all the motion because there is an amazing crowd here in Dallas, so I'm very happy to be here.
And in terms of that, right, looking at the game plan, you've been very aggressive, you've played your style the whole way, but G2 kind of play a similar, right? They can be very aggressive, they can be very explosive. Do you think there's going to be a big clash here? This is going to be a tough fight the whole way?
Yeah, absolutely. It will be a funny match because they are playing with Stewie, so they are playing a lot of rounds together, so I think it will be an amazing match.
Now, you had a very good read on Vitality. Do you have the same kind of read on G2 from what you looked at?
I don't know. Let's see.
Let's see, indeed. Let's see what 9Z can get done here. Either way, the dream could continue right now.
Thank you, brother.
It was very much a dream, and then they got here, and that dream did not become a meme. It became reality. So hats off to them yet again. But in comparison, you know, we're looking at this big picture of a matchup here. How does it stack up when we look at what we're going to play?
I think this is where it gets really interesting, Trace, because neither team plays Vertigo, right? And we've seen actually 9Z in the series against Team Liquid, who also doesn't play Vertigo. They didn't want to veto it, right? They vetoed Inferno, left it up to Team Liquid, so I think that's going to be the first game of chicken. Does anyone even veto Vertigo first time around? I think probably neither team should. I think you look at 9Z, they should get rid of Inferno. You can see for G2 on this graphic, that's their highest % win rate map. On the side of G2, I think they should get rid of Ancient. Sure, they played it in this tournament one time against MAUS and they won, but that's where 9Z has had a lot of success. Now you're thinking, why don't they just get rid of Dust 2? Look at 9Z, they're so good on it. But G2 has played it 3 times, right? They've been looking good on it, especially in gun rounds. The games they've lost mostly because they were messing up the anti-eco round. So I'm sure we'll see Dust 2 somewhere in the map pool, and then maybe something like a nuke could be the decider, because G2 has been letting me rush through this whole tournament. That's been their perma ban with their full lineup, and no one has been willing to pick it. You can see, I don't think 9Z would do it here because they haven't had much success on the map themselves. And you have to take into account, most of the time they play, you know, tier 3 teams in South America, so you would expect them to have higher win rates, hopefully.
Yeah, I do have to agree with you about like the whole Vertigo and Mirage angle, just letting it float. I think this is an okay time to let these maps float in the tournament. Dust 2, obviously, if it's in the pool for 9Z, they're probably going to go for it. And looking at the maps like Ancient, Inferno, Nuke, those are probably going to be what's going to be left for map number 2 and map number 3. I do worry for G2 on Ancient, but when it comes to Nuke, when it comes to Anubis, I feel like, and especially Inferno, I feel like that's where they're going to have their best shots.
So what do you think G2 is going to veto in the first phase then? If not Ancient?
It has to be Ancient because it's the only map. I think they've played it one time at this event so far, but they've won all their Nuke games. They've looked good on Anubis. I think they beat the Falcons as their opener match, for example. And then Nuke, I mean, has been in a couple of series so far. Obviously, Inferno's their best map. If they can get that, we talked about it yesterday against FaZe, like, oh, they kind of left it for like a decider type of thing. And that could have like turned around and not been good for them. So it's going to be interesting to see if they get that pick or not.
And we see with G2, they go for inch, and actually 9ZV to Vertigo themselves.
It's a waste.
I'm really surprised by that. Yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a waste. I don't think that would have been a pick for G2 in any universe. Definitely not in the first phase. So this leaves Inferno wide open to them. I think maybe G2 themselves would have been surprised in the veto to see that they have this option open. So there might have been a little bit of a discussion, you know, what to pick, and they don't overcomplicate it. They go for Inferno. There's something like 12-1 on the map. Obviously, they don't have their full lineup here, but even had that great performance against Team Liquid.
I think we're going to see Dust 2 here as the pick from 9Z. I do get worried about G2 on Inferno, though. Obviously, they're feeling confident in it. I was not impressed by their T side the last time they played it, though. They looked to be really, like, they weren't doing enough pressure towards middle. Nexa wasn't getting anything done, and Liquid had a lot of B stacks. It wasn't until Liquid got into their T side that they just had no options, and G2's CT sides have looked really good all event, with Nico, especially at the helm, being able to make the reads and be in good positions.
G2 leaves Mirage even in the second phase. I mean, that's really brave now for 9Z. I think they would prefer Nuke. Obviously, they feel better on Nuke. They took down Mouse on the map as well. Beat Team Liquid on the map, but I think it's at some point, are you going to punish these guys for leaving Mirage through?
Unless you're super confident in your own Mirage, it's like it is one of those gambles. Obviously, you would want to go for a map that you feel stronger at yourself.
If G2 gets Inferno, Dust, Nuke in the semifinal, those are the three maps that are probably the best for them, especially with Stewie, in this tournament, and they get away with it. Wow, like this is a huge win for G2 in the map veto. I think 9Z made a huge mistake by vetoing Vertigo over Inferno.
And leaving Nuke as that final map too, because we've seen G2 play it, they can do it.
I think, okay, I understand the whole like G2's map win rate on Inferno. They did not look that great against Liquid, and I'm just gonna say that because, yes, it is their best map, but with Hooksy out, with Stewie in, I just didn't see the T side. They're gonna have to start T side on it, and then going into Nuke, it was actually 9Z looks pretty good on it. And what we saw from G2 was Stu missing smokes and Nico having to do audibles and stuff like that. So
I feel you, but the Inferno one, it wasn't good, especially the T side. But it's easy to go back and watch it if you're G2 and say, okay, we were just too stubborn to go B and to take banana control, and Liquid was constantly cheating the third player over towards B. And they lost the fight there multiple times over, right? There wasn't enough pressure towards A from Nex or Hunter. We didn't see any of the sort of momentum change calls, the apps pops, the fast A splits that they did, I think, in the Mouse series earlier, where the T side looked much better. So I think you won't see the same sort of T side from G2. And also, to be honest, it's up to 9Z to replicate that. That's not easy to replicate, right? And to also win some of those crucial fights.
And even for this 9Z team, they're about to step into Dust 2. We've just made the point that G2 like to have come here and played that, and they have. They've shown that they've done it 3 times, right? So when we look at 9Z on Dust 2, what are we looking at?
I think this is an example from the Vitality game, right? Where I think you will see some good structure, being well thought out in some of the rounds, but also individual prowess coming in. So in this gun round, 9Z, they're going to throw the B lurk smoke and the smoke corner on long. And this is a default where you use this. You're not going to use the smoke every time or do something behind it, but it's going to keep the CTs guessing, right? You'll see this time around, DGT is going to try and find a fight towards long, just go for a peek. He has a chance, doesn't win the fight. They don't do anything towards B. What 9Z does out of this in the 4v5, they just take cat control. It's pretty standard, right? You can see that on the side of Vitality, they're in a 2-1-2 setup, mostly playing towards that B split. So just some patience from 9Z. They're regrouping. They're trying to figure it out. Okay, how do we want to end this round? You can see at the moment Buddha is still towards B lurking. They put Flames close long, and now Vitality has their setup. They're ready. Zaiwu posted up. Easy first kill for him. Now it's a 3v5 for 9Z. And here with this flash and a missed shot from Zaiwu, he falls back. They have 2-man advantage. He doesn't need to risk this anymore. He concedes the site, lets his teammates rotate in and regroup. But this gives a window of opportunity to 9Z. Martinez has the op, gets the bomb down, it's planted for short, they're positioned for the retake, and now Martinez, here's where the individual prowess comes in. He understands 3v5, he needs to make something happen. flashes long peak. Zaiwu misses him from pit, so he gets a free one there. And now a little bit of a 1v1 retake situation from Vitality, just creeping up slope. Huaso Peak with some really, really sharp shooting, gets 3 quick kills here, and all of a sudden Zaiwu is in a 1v2, and the round is pretty much over. So 9Z are the second highest team in this tournament and winning 4v5s. So they're really good at not panicking when things early on don't go well for them.
And I think just I mean, you explained everything perfectly there, so the only other things I can talk about is just like the smoke that they do at the beginning of the round. It's both for conditioning, so that they can set up for a later on B rush, and maybe they won't expect it, it's the same start, but it also gets them a little bit of information about how the defense is setting up, how Vitality is starting. Are they fighting for long? How are they stuffing a B rush? Is there an opening at middle or cat? And using that information to be able to move around the map, and that's where we see the long fight. That's when we see them call the audible to go up cat, because it leaves it really open-ended that they can do anything with it. And I think that type of style of kind of like textbook looking CS gives it a lot of options for teams, and I think that's what keeps them in the game and makes them such a, I guess, good team right now at this event so far.
And I think what's interesting is for this matchup, this is probably the first time in this tournament that G2, you can say they're the favorite. Because of the standing situation and the caliber of teams they've been playing, they've been the underdog every single time, right? We know they're playing with a standing. We heard it from their camp a ton of times. Oh, we're playing with less pressure. We're just trying to have a good time, go out there and play. But this is the first time where you kind of expected, you know, to win this game and make it into the grand final. There's this hometown crowd that's cheering for Stewie, right? Like, he definitely wants to win one more game, get to play in the grand final. So we'll see how they manage that. The key thing is just treat it like all the games you have so far. Don't overthink them. Don't all of a sudden get too stressed about being the favorite.
Well, you did say that word, options. Now, you both have 2 of them. There is no draw here. So, Yanko, you say favorites, and on paper it looks right, it smells right. And yes, a win here from 9Z would legitimize everything that they've done here. Not to, not to talk down on it, but who wins this matchup, Yanko?
I think 9Z has been playing really well.